actually might need to wear this so people know that it's me and not a fraud. Look at that. We're relatively starting on time. Okay. All this time, didn't realize that Steve Sparrows was standing in front of the Hard Rock Cafe. Fascinating. Hopefully I don't get sued by them. That's free advertising. What do they gotta be mad about? Okay. Let's see. Let me move my mic this way. And hello there. What is up, guys? How we doing today? How we doing this week? How we doing in general? Shit, all this moving around. Did not get my comics out of my backpack. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm stupid. That is redundant, Arcus. Not redundant, but that already happened. Frank Miller did that in like 1978. It was awesome. Although apparently some people didn't think it was awesome. They made a whole fucking parody comic about it. And it wound up probably arguably becoming more popular than Daredevil himself with the Ninja Turtles. What's up, John? How you doing, buddy? What comics did you guys read this week? It's actually kind of a big week for comics. I mean, I say as I only got like 5 books, but that's still a lot for me. Technically, one of these books came out like a month ago, but still. Question, is all anime filler bad? No, some anime filler is actually pretty good. And what's up, Supreme? You're gonna, I don't know, I guess that puts me on the spot a little bit, but I mean, there's some filler episodes in anime that are pretty fun. I don't know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I don't know, some of it should be good. I finished reading all of Nick Spencer's run on Captain America, and I loved it. Dude, tell me of your experience, because I really fucking love Nick Spencer's Captain America run, but I loved it like at the time as I was reading it, so I haven't like gone back to it recently, but you know, I remember liking it a lot. But you've heard me talk about it, so it's great. Superhero genre and film, superhero genre of film and TV equals America's Power Rangers and Japan's Super Sentai. Yeah, although to be fair, I think Japan is a little more reverent of Sentai than we are of superheroes here in America. But yeah, let's see. Actually, speaking of superheroes, okay, so the first big book that I read this week, or big book, like one of the 5 books I read this week, was World's Finest 26 by Dan Mora and Mark Waid. And we got this like advertisement on the back with a movie that I'm probably not going to see for another like 2 years. But the art honestly looks pretty cool. But yeah, no, you know what, man? I've listed it as like one of my favorite books from DC in like a number of videos, but come on, this is just like a quintessential superhero comic. Like Mark Waid just knows what he's doing. We even get like cool callbacks to like stuff like this, like 0 Year. It's just fun. Also, I love seeing Dan Mora draw the 0 Year Batsuit. It's just magnifico. Um, yeah, this just continues to be like Bronze Age DC Comics goodness. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. I don't know, man. This is just sort of everything I like in superhero comics. It's really dope. Uh, Fucking, I don't know what else to tell you guys. If you're not reading it, read World's Finest. It's great. Also, this is issue 25. I picked this up like, I think I read this like a week ago, but I read it in my comic book store. I didn't actually buy it, so this is just me buying it this week. But yeah, that was a really fun book. I also really dug Black Panther #3, or I guess Ultimate Black Panther #3. This is a weird one. By the way, I love this variant cover. I don't know who the cover artist is, but it's just absolutely fantastic. I think it's great. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. It kind of looks like AI, just a little bit, but like not egregiously AI. It's just like AI enhanced. I don't know. I'm not making it any better, but look at that. It's a little artificially but yeah. As for the actual book itself, I like it. It, like I said, with the first 2 issues, is very much living up to the pitch of being Black Panther meets Dune. There's a lot of Dune in this. There's definitely a lot of MCU Black Panther in it as well. That's kind of the thing that draws me out of it, if I'm gonna be honest. And I don't think it's a thing that you can really escape with a lot of contemporary Marvel comics. The MCU synergy. What's up, Tevia? And like some of the I don't know. The MCU is iconic. Like, it's cinematically iconic. It's iconic in like pop culture. So naturally, a lot of that's gonna sperm its way into the egg of your imagination when coming up with things for Marvel. But I don't know. Like the aesthetics of it. The art just feels kind of lacking to me. And not that the art's bad. The art by what's his fuck? He's like a brilliant, beautiful artist. I mean, I don't know if they're like beautiful themselves. I've never seen their face, but like Stefano Caselli, they're an amazing artist. Their art's beautiful. It's fantastic. But I'm really wondering what this book would have looked like if they weren't just copy pasting like MCU character designs and set designs for this book. I really would like to see what an original take on Black Panther would be, as opposed to just MCU popular. MCU Black Panther is the big, that's like, well, not the big, it is the only thing that people think of with Black Panther. I would have liked to see something a little more original aesthetically. But aside from that, I think all the stuff with T'Challa venturing off into the wilderness with Storm and Michael B. Jordan is pretty cool. I think their dynamic is really interesting. I really like this bit where they go to this cavern that's like just on the outskirts of Wakanda. You have this like giant cave where the entrance is the face of Bass, who's the Panther God. I think that's really cool. We also have a bit where one of the faces there is Kang. Weirdly enough, I don't know what they're doing with that, but it's really interesting. It's really cool. And the big thing that you sort of run into in this cave is like a massive Prometheus style hologram projection, or maybe it's a ball of kryptonite. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's a big green ball in a cave, and I don't know what the fuck that is. But clearly, the Moon Knight organization, who's I guess kind of like the Templars from Assassin's Creed, they're after this thing, and the Black Panther and Michael B. Jordan and Halle Berry have to protect it. I don't know. It's really cool so far. It's really interesting. I'm very excited to see where some of this goes. If I wasn't such a Spider-Man dork, I'd probably list this as like one of my favorite Ultimate books, but by default, I'm a Spider-Man dork, so Ultimate Spider-Man is my favorite Ultimate book right now. But no, this is like really cool, and it's really kind of cool reading this as I'm like also reading Dune currently. Like I see those influences, and it's like, oh yeah, they're bobbing, they're weaving. I see what you're, I smell what you're stepping in. I like it. Let's see. Supreme says, on passing the torch theme, it's actually hard to pull off, especially if you're going to replace an iconic character like Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, and Peter Parker. I mean, yeah. Except I've seen it done like 100 times before with those exact characters. And the problem is Marvel and DC just never follow through on it. That's the problem. Like, just going off your examples. Bruce Wayne. That mantle has been passed down to Dick Grayson like twice already. And it's been fumbled twice already. All you gotta do is just you can mount the horse, you just have to slap it on the side with a spur, or however you ride horses. I don't know. I'd probably kill myself riding a horse. I can't ride a horse, but you know what I mean. Like, just do the thing. Don't pussy out. As for Clark Kent, I don't know. How do you? I mean, the death of Superman. You could have just had him replaced by Superboy, Connor Kent, and see where that went. Probably not a satisfactory ending, but I could see where that I don't know. Definitely, I think we're definitely in a place now where I think if you took Clark Kent off the board, there's a couple suitable replacements. John Kent, people wouldn't like it, but you could definitely replace Clark Kent with John, and if you do it right, you can make him a really endearing character. Honestly, I think Tom King would be like the best person to do it. Maybe that's not what I think people want to hear, but that one issue of the Crisis on Infinite reboots, or whatever the fuck Joshua Williamson was doing with that book. Great writer, but holy shit, he definitely draws the shit into the stick sometimes. But in that craptastic event, Tom King had a really cool one shot where it went through the life of Jonathan Kent if he wasn't artificially aged up like he was Ilyana Rasputin, but like significantly less cool. And we saw him like grow and mature, and it was the most I cared about John in these like 20 pages than I have in like the past 2 years. I don't know. So I definitely think Tom King would be the person to do that if you're gonna have John Kent replace Clark Kent. But I also feel, especially after Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, you could definitely have Kara take Superman's place. the the comic skate like get woke go broke crowd would probably shit their pants, but like I'm the more I hear from them, the more I'm convinced they don't actually read anything. So who the fuck cares? I don't think they can read, to be honest. But definitely you could have Supergirl replace Superman at this point. But the big one, who I think it's been a long time coming, is Connor Kent. Connor Kent 100% could definitely replace Clark Kent, especially in the place where like Superman is now. Maybe don't like throw Superman off the board completely, like, you know, you don't gotta like do anything dramatic, but you know, maybe you could Jay Garrick him, you know, have him semi-retire, or have him go be Superman of like the cosmos, and he's not just anchored to Earth, and that way you have Connor acting as the Superman of Earth. I think you could do that with Connor Kent. So Superman's definitely in a place now where you could like replace him, and I think people would be cool with that. And what was the other person you listed? Was it like Spider-Man? Yeah, Peter Parker. Peter's been replaced like multiple times. And like Clone Saga is awful, but it gave the perfect jumping off point for Ben Reilly to just be Spider-Man. All they had to do was just tell good stories after that, which they didn't, unfortunately. But all they had to do was just tell some good stories after that. And then I think more and more people would have been endeared to Ben Reilly as a character. But that didn't work out, so they just they brought Peter back. But I don't know, like Miles, which is just so unfortunate. I don't know what it is about this character. Everyone else in every other medium seems to know exactly, at least on like an idea level, how to play that like passing of the torch. But no one in comics knows that. No. Dude, Comic Miles just sucks ass. I'm sorry, he just does. He really needs someone to just get in there and like really know the character's worth. And sort of transition Peter out of the role of being the primary Spider-Man and sort of like put Miles in that position. You can do that now, especially now that I think Marvel has inadvertently run that character into the ground to the point where nobody really cares about him anymore. At least comic readers. So yeah, you could definitely replace Spider-Man. But again, just if you're gonna do it, you can't pussy out. It's like skateboarding. Like you gotta commit. You gotta commit. Like if you're gonna do an ollie, once you kick, or not kick, once you like stomp, because you have to like stomp the tail of the board, and once you jump, you have to commit to like putting your feet on the board and then slamming it back onto the pavement. You know, like any other skateboard trick. You once you get in the air, you have to actually commit to putting your feet down and landing the trick. A lot of people at Marvel and DC just they don't commit, and then they bail. That's just the unfortunate reality. But no, I definitely think you can replace a lot of those characters, and there have been ample opportunities too. They just don't. John Ty says, I feel like if you read Secret Empire by itself, it's a good event. If you're looking at the event as the climax of Nick Spencer's entire run on Captain America, it's a better read. Well, that's how I read it originally. And I loved it a lot. I loved every second of it. If Mark Waid's World's Finest got an adaptation, pretentious art house critics complaining about it being apolitical and not progressive and topical enough. Um, fuck them. That's what I gotta say. That fuck them. I don't care. It's fun superhero comics. Um, any opinion on X-Men '97? Because I love that show and it's amazing. I like X-Men '97 a lot. It's really fun. I actually just watched episode 6 before starting the stream. I have no concept for the whole life death adaptation. Like I don't know how it's acting as an adaptation of that material, but I like the way they were sort of handling some of the Grant Morrison stuff, which is what little X-Men I've actually read. I thought it was a pretty cool, like, I don't know the VA for Charles Xavier, but the way he delivered the speech that Grant Morrison wrote in the second issue of Morrison and Quietly's run on New X-Men, I thought that was handled really well, despite all the stuff in space being space stuff, which I don't give a fuck about with the X-Men at all. I don't know, but that also just because I'm not an X-Men fan. Like I like the idea of the X-Men before I actually like the X-Men. There's just a lot of stuff about the X-Men that I just don't care about. Most of the popular stuff, like all the space stuff with the Shi'ar Empire and all that, I don't give a fuck. But it was nice to see the, like, Ronan the Accuser and Gladiator show up in animation. It really kind of made me wish that we got like a proper Avengers animated series in the 90s, which I don't think we there is that one where, like, it's the Avengers but they're in the future nebulously, and, like, Giant Man and Falcon are, like, the Teen Titans of the Avengers, and now they're, like, the second generation. It was some weird bullshit. I don't know, but, like, like we know the Avengers characters exist in the 90s animated Marvel cartoon universe. Like, we know Captain America exists. We know that Iron Man exists. We know that War Machine exists. We know that Carol Danvers exists. We know all these characters exist. Hawkeye definitely exists. He's a major part of Iron Man, the animated series. But it's weird because, like, they just... It's like they skip over the Avengers entirely and just jump straight to Force Works. Because I guess that's, like, the material that was coming out at the time in the comics, but still, I don't know. Yeah. I hope we get a proper Avengers 99 series out of this. That would be pretty cool. It's always interesting seeing the Avengers sort of clash with the X-Men, which we almost got to see in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and that just never happened because we had to cancel that show and make a Synergy cartoon, which was significantly less good. What a fumble. Comic book fans, if it's not accurate to source material, it sucks. As fan film community rises. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that. Granted, we're getting some pretty decent fan films out of that notion, though, of resentment. I mean, hot take here, I guess. I mean, not I guess. This is definitely a hot take. I didn't hate Spider-Man Lotus. I mean, it's definitely a fan film. Like, there's definitely a lot of stuff in there that's, like, kind of cringy and sort of silly. Like, it's very amateurish. But, like, I'm going into it as a fan film, going like, there's gonna be very amateurish bullshit there. I mean, if you want to hate that cast and crew for, like, all the weird Discord shit that got leaked. I mean, go right ahead. It's pretty egregious, pretty racist, pretty misogynistic stuff. So that's not cool. But the fan film itself, I thought was pretty all right in terms of adapting Spider-Man. like it's weird that there are things that Lotus adapted from the comics that people are like, that's problematic, and it's like, yeah. I'm not sure if you know this, but Spider-Man is the story of a regular, everyday New Yorker who gets superpowers and becomes a superhero. And part of the problem and part of the intrigue of those stories is that he's a New Yorker. He's just a regular New Yorker. I'm not sure if you guys have met New Yorkers, but New Yorkers are averagely, I don't know, they're cool. A little problematic sometimes when you talk to them for long enough, but yeah, they're pretty cool. And that's what makes Spider-Man kind of like fun and endearing. He does have a lot of problematic flaws, but that makes him realistic and fun to watch because you get to see how those flaws impact his life both as Peter Parker and as Spider-Man, and how sometimes his greatest problems, his greatest hurdles in life are by his own design. It's kind of the whole fucking point of Spider-Man. I don't know, whatever. But it's kind of weird how I don't know, that gets into the whole thing where I think Spider-Man as a character has just been not infantilized, but it's the thing that we've done culturally with like Superman. You know how like Superman starts off as this character with like he's a man of action. He's a man with like a righteous sense of anger. He's a very proactive, pulpy hero. He's very like headstrong and kind of arrogant. But as time goes on, we sort of like buff out some of those nuances as if they were scratches that shouldn't be there, and now he's just this bland, like SpongeBob, like, hi, I'm Dave. Like, I don't know. Did he say his name was Dave in the SpongeBob episode? I don't know. I'm being ADD right now, but still, just we've buffed out all of Superman's like scratches and nuances, and we've just sort of made him like hero guy. I smile because I'm hero guy. And we're starting to see that with Spider-Man a lot, which is kind of unfortunate. I go on like a whole tangent about that in my Spider-Man 2 video game review, which I kind of wanted to put off until like all the DLC came out, but who the fuck knows when that's gonna happen, so I might as well just do it now. But I don't know. Back to 1610 though. I don't know. Some of these fan films that we're getting, just based on pure, I don't like this movie that's coming out right now, or I don't like this TV show that's coming out right now, I'm gonna make my own thing. Sometimes you get some cool stuff out of it, even if the people behind the project are kind of shitty and problematic in and of themselves. But what are you gonna do? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't know. I just reviewed my Black Panther and it was really good. Yeah, no, it's really fun. It's the best Black Panther book coming out right now. I can say that. Black Cat gritty reboot, Cat Burglar versus FBI's Most Wanted. We're gonna shut you down because you're giving Sony ideas. Please stop. For the love of God, just don't. That's gonna be a thing. Felicity Jones now in Black Cat. Catch Me If You Can 2, the sequel. Also starring Amy Adams for no reason. Do you feel both long-running Battle Shonen and superhero comics have similar problems? Not really. Uh, only in that the only battle shonen I've really read is like JoJo's. And that is nothing like American comics at all, to any degree. Um, like I've never really read Dragon Ball Z. Like I've played Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but that's about it. I don't have any concept for Dragon Ball Z in terms of like the manga itself. I know people who are like Dragon Ball fans have nuanced and deep rooted opinions about shonen and blah blah blah. Like I know the dudes on like the Trash Taste podcast will probably be like, this is why the shonen of the shinen of the hentai in my anime. But I'm just like, I don't know. Dragon Ball Z game go burr and it fun. I like when Frieza makes racist remarks against the Saiyans. It's pretty funny. That's my input for a lot of manga and anime. I'm a satellite weeb, not a total weeb. Although I'll reach that pinnacle one day, but today's not that day. How's the Brainiac's been good? I'm gonna read it after it's all out. There's just a lot of books coming out right now. I just it's so much. It's so much. Actually, speaking of kind of big comic events going on right now, well, not like events, but I picked up the Roxxon Presents Thor, which is spinning out of the current run on Thor by Al Ewing and not Singwin. I can't think of his name, but this is Greg Land doing Roxxon Thor, and this shit's fucking amazing. Like, oh my god, Al Ewing is like peak, like Grant Morrison Jr. That's derogatory. I don't want to say Grant Morrison Jr. But like, this is what I would imagine a Grant Morrison Mark Miller collab on Thor to be, like 20 years ago, but it's like coming out now, and it's amazing. Guys, honestly, Thor might be the best comic coming out of Marvel right now. And there's a lot of really good books coming out of Marvel right now, but Thor might be the best. So for anyone who is not in the know, not hip, Al Ewing is sort of playing with the mythology of the gods of the Marvel Universe and how they're perceived and how they perceive themselves, and sort of doing it through like I don't know, like not through real world mythology, but like he's playing it as though all of these myths are like interconnected and all of these gods are actually like the same gods. When Thor goes to talk to Gaia, Gaia does not look anything like Freya at all. At least like doesn't look anything like the Freya that we've seen in Thor comics over the past like 60 years. She looks like a fucking horror monster, but Thor's treating her like she's Freya, and I think that's really interesting. It feels very Earth X in the way in which it's approaching like the sort of like Marvel theology, where like these deities, they're all sort of reflective of the stories we tell ourselves, and they interact with each other sort of like accordingly, but also interchangeably. It's very weird, and I'm not describing it properly at all, but I don't know. It's really good. This arc has nothing to do with any of that, though. This arc is mostly about Thor going into like the Roxxon Corporation, who's run by a Minotaur, like a demonic Minotaur, because Thor signed away his likeness and the rights to his stories to the Roxxon Corporation. So now, in like a meta way, Roxxon is printing Thor comics, but they're making Thor like a total dipshit. Kind of akin to like Chris Hemsworth's MCU Thor. Like the opening page, like the first page is like, it's literally just the first Thor movie if it was directed by Taika Waititi. It's so funny. It's and like I don't know what's his name, like Chad Thundercock or whatever it is, like Chad Thundercock Thor is just a total dipshit. He's just Chris Hemsworth. It's hilarious. And as we're reading this like really sort of inaccurate take on Thor, you flip to the real world, or I guess the actual Marvel Universe, and Thor is pissed. Like actual comic book Thor is like, this is not me. What are you doing? This is not my story. This is not how I act. But Roxxon is in charge of Thor's mythology, and that's all he has because he's a god. I don't know. I think that's so fascinating. I'm really excited to see where this book goes. This so far is shaping up to be the best run on Thor since J. Michael Straczynski and Olivier Coipel. I like this a lot, and I hope to God it doesn't get canceled early, like all the other good Thor runs have been the past like 20 years. I really hope this gets to like actually flesh itself out and do its thing, because I'm loving it so far. It's really good. Toby says, I'm still annoyed that DC won't DH John Kent. That's never gonna happen. It'd be cool if it happened, but it's never gonna happen. John Ty says, in a post Hickman New Avengers Superior Iron Man, Tony's characterization is interesting in Secret Empire. I'm trying to remember what I know that's the era where like Tony isn't actually Tony, but he's more so it's the thing where like the armor is projecting a hologram face for Tony. That's that era. But you can tell Nick Spencer really doesn't give a fuck. That Dan Slott is like doing some weird post-human like transhumanist Tony's actually an AI bullshit. He's like, nope, I just want to write Iron Man. I just want to put Tony Stark in this book. I want to have Hank Pym beat him at the dinner table. And like probably like one of the best Hank Pym scenes since Rage of Ultron. But yeah, no, that book also made me think that Nick Spencer would have made a really good Iron Man writer at some point if he ever got that chance. But I don't know, probably not going to see that at this point. Tony trying to be a hopeful light in Secret Empire is a character progression from where he was before in Hickman's New Avengers and Superior Iron Man. You know what's weird? I actually I get why a lot of Iron Man fans don't like Hickman's take on Tony Stark in Avengers and Illuminati, but I think it's perfectly in line with Tony Stark's characterization from Armor Wars and Civil War, Extremis, even like the Tony Stark Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. Tony Stark, at his core, is a man who wants to help people. His problem is that he's smart and he knows that he's smart, and sometimes that makes him think that everyone else in the room is too dumb to fix the problem that he himself sees as a problem that only he can fix because he's Tony Stark. I'm super smart. I can fix this problem, no problem. That's Tony's real problem. And you just sort of see that taken to its most furthest extreme in Hickman's run on the Avengers. So I didn't hate that about the Avengers run. But it was nice to see Tony sort of being the sober man in the room. I mean, I didn't mean that intentionally, but you know, I guess the words sometimes slip out properly. But yeah, no, it was cool seeing Tony be like the sober friend in the room during some of the Nick Spencer stuff. That was pretty cool. Even though he was a robot, so whatever. Comic fans, we want progression. Marvel and DC will go support our latest alternate realities. Oh, you're talking about the whole DC Absolute Comics thing? We'll see how that goes. I feel like it's gonna go the same way as Earth One and Black Label. Like you start out doing something cool and then you just sort of you lose track of it. Because they do that all the time. They just DC they cannot keep an ultimate universe to save their lives. I mean, to be fair, Marvel couldn't do it, but DC is just painfully bad at it. I think I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but I don't think it's gonna work. They can barely keep track of their own mainline continuity. What makes you think they're gonna be able to keep track of a whole separate continuity? That's no. Mm-mm. Good luck with that, but no. Yo, what's up, Ziggy? Hey, how you living? I didn't know you were popping in the stream. Fumble that mantle like their name was Max Caster and the mantle was Chris Statlander. That's pain. You made those words up. Wait, hold on a second. Are those is that wrestling? You know, I haven't watched wrestling in like 10 years. Matt Caster. Wait, is Matt Caster the dude who's like the discount Dwayne Johnson? I think we saw him when we like went to an AEW house show. He was pretty fun. I thought he was pretty cool. He's like The Rock if The Rock was like Rey Mysterio. Ziggy says, you're saying Cosmo Superman is really giving me flashbacks to when Green Lanterns were forced to leave Earth when they said, Earth is fine. That's a... fucking... don't get me started on the Green Lantern. We have like 3 million Earth Green Lanterns. I'm pretty sure Sector 2815 or whatever the hell it is bigger than just our solar system, but whatever. Scream says, also on passing the torch theme, for all of Ultimatum's problems, I like how it killed off 4 X-Men sacred cows of Xavier, Magneto, Logan, and Cyclops. Jean and Kitty were the new generation. That was... Okay. That right there is the reason why I like the Ultimate Universe post-Ultimatum so much. Um, because I feel like it took Marvel back to their roots. Well, maybe not their roots, but like it took Marvel back to like the 70s era-ish, kind of, or like the 80s era, where it felt like anything could happen. And for every action, there was a major consequential reaction. And then you can go anywhere from there. I feel like Marvel's lost that over the years. But the Ultimate Universe definitely brought that back, where they just fucking... if you die, you die. They killed off Spider-Man. They killed off Daredevil. They killed off the Incredible Hulk. They killed off Black Widow. They killed off Captain America. He killed off Thor. There were a lot of key Marvel characters that just got... and the story kept going. And you see what happens after that. I thought all that was like really interesting and really fun. And it was pretty cool seeing what becomes of the X-Men when you get rid of the pillars of the X-Men. And I kind of like seeing Jean Grey in a weird way sort of become the new Magneto, you know? And she's leading, I don't think it was Asteroid M, but it was, she had like a giant, like, metal satellite that was a mutant haven, but Kitty Pryde was the president of Krakoa, which the U.S. government had no problem giving the mutants their own reservation, which was an allegory for, you know, Native Americans and how the American government treats Native Americans and Native people in this land. And as soon as Krakoa becomes this, like, this vibrant, floral, tropical wonderland that's rich in resources, food, clean water, it's even like sort of repairing the ozone layer. Once the U.S. government sees that is the land that the mutants are flourishing in, they just send a bunch of fucking Sentinels. And I think they were modeled after like the Nimrod Sentinels, which I remember people freaking out about. Which I guess Nimrod is in the 616 like a major deal. Again, I don't know shit about the X-Men, but still, it was kind of fun seeing the evolution of the Sentinel program in that way. But also just seeing what becomes of the mutants and who steps up when, like, Magneto and Charles Xavier and Cyclops are all sort of, like, thrown by the wayside. It was cool seeing Kitty Pryde take on that new Professor X role. Especially Ultimate Kitty, who I did not like at all. But she really grew as a character in that whole post-Ultimatum era. I thought she was really cool. Let's see. He says, I still maintain Marvel should allow Peter Parker and Mary Jane to get married. Preaching to the choir, man. But at this point, I'd settle for just Peter feeling like an adult again. How do you get rid of the terrible jackpot powers? By not reading the book, and then Marvel just forgets about it. That's how you get rid of it. Marvel Jackpot Gritty reboot. Mary Jane, model, actress by day, vigilante by night. Oh, Madam Web 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's awful. I hate you. Let's see. Yeah, the Avengers United. Yeah, that show was awful. I remember thinking that show was terrible as a kid, and I had like no standards as a kid. I thought Spider-Man the Animated Series was amazing, which it actually is. It's pretty fun, but you know, okay, maybe not Spider-Man the Animated Series. Max Steel's a better example. I thought Max Steel was awesome, and that show was, ooh, it looks rough going back. Ooh, very bad, very not great on the eyes. Yeah, avoided Spider-Man Lotus because of the controversy. Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, if you can like ignore that, then like it's fine. But if you can't, then I get it. Yeah, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes was really good. That was a really good representation of the Marvel Universe. I feel. Um, of all the shows to get renewed, why why can't we get that one again? I don't know. Um, Spider-Man Lotus, CW Spider-Man, like a direct-to-DVD Power Rangers. Um, yeah. Oh shit! What's up, Tristan? How you doing, man? Long time no see. Welcome back. Hey, give me 1 second, guys. Gotta Okay. Sorry, I just like I heard the scratching outside and I was like, "What's going on?" No, it's just my girlfriend's mom is revealing the wood that's like underneath the bad paint job. So that's pretty cool. I don't know, but that was funny. Um, Question: how do you feel about Ultimate Spider-Man being amazing? You ask me this question like every couple weeks. I think it's good. I don't know. I like it. It's a good book. Um, Supreme says, on headcanon final issue, would you have been happy if Spectacular Spider-Man number 200, aka Harry Osborn's death, was the last real issue of Spider-Man? No. Like, I know a lot of people say that, but like, no, I don't. The there's just, I don't know. You, that's just like such a, that is too downer of an ending. I feel like you need sort of like an epilogue after that. Um, and that issue just isn't. So I don't know. I get it because it's like a, everything sort of comes full circle, but yeah, no, I don't like that as the in universe ending of Spider Man. I would not like that. Um, it it's not like uh, it's kind of like ending the character of Daredevil with 191 or 198 or the last issue, the issue that Frank Miller technically ends his run on Daredevil with before he does Born Again. It'd kind of be like saying that's the last issue of Daredevil. Um, Not a satisfactory ending. Getting Born Again after that ending, that's a satisfactory ending. Like, if you want to end the character of Matt Murdock with Born Again, boom, perfect ending. But ending it with the whole Russian roulette issue, nah. I wouldn't be into that. Uh, Batman versus Predator, Pray Harder. That's actually pretty clever. I like that. The first issue of Nick Spencer's Steve Rogers Captain America run is true to real life, with the idea of loneliness being the start of radicalization. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, there's a lot of sober introspection regarding America, like, culturally, with that book that I don't think a lot of people were ready to hear in like 2016. But now that we're a couple years removed from all that, it'd be interesting to see people go back and revisit that book. That's a book I honestly want to do another video on, because I did one video as it was coming out, and I was still sort of like high on it because I was like, this is fucking amazing. But that's another book. That's another book I want to like really sort of do like a deep dive retrospective on. So yeah, that's a really good comic. And it didn't deserve the ire that it got. It was a really good comic. I think people were. It had the problem of coming out in like 2016 when everyone was sort of losing their fucking mind about the election, but also coming out in a time period where the MCU was like at its peak and Captain America was, for a lot of people, this new exciting character that I get to latch all of my emotional bullshit onto and say, this is my emotional support character and you can't do anything mean with them. And people who just don't really know that much about comics were getting into comics, and they weren't privy to they weren't privy to the rules. You know, crazy bullshit happens with your favorite character. Give it like 20 issues, it's gonna go away. It's gonna get reversed somehow. I don't think a lot of people were aware of that in that era. So yeah, that book had a lot going against it, but it's so good. It's such a good comic. Speaking of Spider-Man, apparently there's news that Kevin Feige was the one to kill off Kamala Khan. Yeah, but we knew that already. That's not news. Marvel's sort of been doing the synergy thing for years now. That should not, like, that shouldn't be news. I don't know. I don't see why that's. Everyone's freaking out about that on Twitter, or I guess X, and I don't get it. That. Yeah, no. Marvel sacrifices the narrative integrity of their comics for the sake of brand synergy with their movies. In other news, water is wet. More news at 11. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. It happens. Marvel Night Watch? Oh god. Sony's equivalent to Black Panther, but from the hood. Oh god, that sounds so awful. Directed by Spike Lee. Okay, actually that could be pretty cool. I like Spike Lee though, so I don't know. It could be good. Spike Lee would make a really good superhero film. If we lived in my hypothetical dream world, Spike Lee is the guy to make a Spider-Man movie. I think Spike Lee would make an amazing Spider-Man movie. No pun intended. But appreciated by myself because I made it. Why would Thor do that? Sell his comic rights? Or his, like, likeness rights? Well, they explained it in the book, and apparently it's something that happened years ago in, like, another comic run. But the apparently he was just like saying, "Here, mortals, here are my stories." And there's Jason Aaron apparently did some stuff with that, but I didn't read the Jason Aaron run in its entirety. But I don't know. Because the story needed to happen to him, yeah, that's why. So he just announced a Prowler solo film starring Donald Glover, directed. Fuck off. That didn't happen, did it? No, you're messing with me. You almost got me though. Then you have the comparison between Hydra and Sam Wilson as Cap. Yeah, dude, everything in that book was really good. You're making me want to go back and like reread it. Thor gritty reboot Norwegian crime drama in Norway. I mean, that kind of exists. There's like a. I mean, it's not made by Marvel, and it's like actually about like the Norse gods, and like they like reincarnate. It's basically Teen Wolf, but with the Norse gods. It's a weird show. My girlfriend showed me the trailer for it, and I was like, "This is weird. Let's watch it." And then we never did. But like the Frost Giants are apparently like corporations because the giants step on people. All the subtlety and nuance of a napalm enema, that one. But yeah, no. That premise is definitely in use. Trim says, would people feel more positive about the MCU if it ended with Endgame? Yes. In fact, everything we're seeing with the MCU now is just... It's a classic case of you wearing out your welcome. That's it. Better to go out on a high note than end on a whimper. It's funny. I remember. I remember Eric Holden, or I guess Browncoat Eric, before he shut his YouTube channel down. He said that was the unfortunate but highly likely fate of the MCU, and he said this like 10 years ago. He was like, the MCU is not going to like end on a bang. It's going to just limp along until it stops making Disney money. And we're just gonna get a bunch of like crap until then. We're starting to see that. Endgame is where things should have ended, and now we're just sort of we're still limping along. We're still here. But yeah, Browncoat Eric called it, and he was absolutely right. Oh, the joy of being wrong sometimes. Wasn't that Brian Michael Bendis that wrote AI Tony Stark? Was it? I don't remember. AI Tony was a Bendis creation. You're right. Because that's when Riri Williams was introduced. I forgot. Oh, man. That happened, didn't it? Jesus Christ. I totally blanked. Yeah, Secret Empire was going on while Dan Slott was writing Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. With the Parker Industries stuff, yeah. That Parker Industries too. Oh man, what was Marvel thinking that whole era? Just a lot of what was going on. Secret Empire aside, that was brilliant. But like, Peter Parker's a billionaire. editors, please edit. It's okay to tell writers that they have bad ideas. It is okay. 1610 says, if MCU ended with Endgame, comic fans would have been complaining about wasted potential. I mean, yeah, but they were gonna complain regardless. Because that's what we do. We complain. just keep it in a buck. Just being real. We complain a lot. But I don't know. Just Earth One went nowhere, unfortunately. I mean, some of the Earth One books are pretty cool. Like, I like Wonder Woman Earth One. I like Superman Earth One, although I feel like the ending of that book sets up a very interesting status quo that should be explored, but unfortunately never will be. Batman Earth One is basically just a movie pitch, and it's not a very good one at that. It's basically just, here's what the Batman with Robert Pattinson will be, but like not as interesting. And even then, like, I don't know, it's whatever. Teen Titans Earth One was pretty cool. I mean, it's basically just the Runaways meets the Doom Patrol, but I thought it was pretty fun and interesting. It's a really interesting take on the Teen Titans. It was completely divorced from any Teen Titans iconography. I thought it was really kind of interesting and kind of cool. But yeah, outside of that, like, Earth One sort of just which is unfortunate because there were a lot of cool ideas there. Green Lantern Earth One is like probably my favorite of the Earth One books. It's basically Star Wars, and Hal Jordan has to be the Luke Skywalker who brings back the Jedi Order of the Green Lantern Corps. It's really good. It's such a fucking shame that book's not going to continue. But c'est la vie. It is what it is. Ultimate Universes, just testing the ground for future ideas for mainstream universe continuities. That and also movie pitches. Just as it is. They're just movie pitches. The Avengers movie is literally just a more user-friendly, palatable version of the Ultimates. Like, everything that we see in the Earth One line, it's just, how do we make this into movies with, like, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, or Matt Reeves' The Batman. Yeah. That's all it is. Ultimate Universes at this point are just beta testing for how do we make movies out of these IPs and these concepts. Tevia says, question, speaking of Green Lantern, how do you feel about the Jeremy Adams Green Lantern run? I haven't been reading it. I'm gonna pick that up in trade. I'm reading literally everything else right now, so I had to take it off my pull list because I'm just not reading it actively. But I liked what I read of it, so I like the first like 4 issues of it. I thought it was pretty cool. Ultimatum killed off everyone for no good reason. No, there was a good reason. Shock value. Shock value is always a good reason to do things. It works all the time in comics. In fact, I haven't edited it yet, but like I just made a YouTube short about how the Green Goblin, literally, he has made Norman Osborn for no reason other than just it's gonna be shocking to the audience. But It worked. It worked. And here we are. That's all it is. Or like the Joker, like, surviving his first encounter with Batman in Batman #1, when I think Robin's dangling off a ledge, and then Batman's like running after him, and the Joker's like, he's like shooting at Batman, and Batman's like, I got a bulletproof vest on, dog. You ain't doing shit to me, but I'm gonna do a lot of shit to you when I catch you. And then the Joker pulls out like a knife, but he trips and like it stabs him. Over. It's over. The character's dead. But they needed a punchy ending, so they just rewrote the ending and said that the doctor on the scene is like, oh, this Joker guy is actually alive. Let's put him on a hospital bed and take him to the prison infirmary. That's not the original ending of that book, but they rewrote it and redrew it to be the original ending because it was shocking. So, shock value works. And here we are. All these years later. Debating whether or not some of those shocking moments should have actually not happened because of where we are now. But Ultimatum happened because the original Ultimate Universe is too similar to Earth 616, so they kept stealing ideas. That too. Yeah, you definitely had to shake up the Ultimate Universe because Marvel post-Civil War is basically just Ultimate Marvel Jr. Weirdly. Like the snake is eating its own tail. That's just weird. Didn't the storyline technically ruin Ultimate X-Men and then Cataclysm happened and blew up the entire universe? Well, I mean, Ultimate X was really good. Like that whole status quo where Cyclops was going to be the face of mutant registration, but then Pietro puts a bullet through it, and then all of the mutants are just they're just being thrown in concentration camps because the U.S. government doesn't know what to do with them after Magneto flooded New York City, and like mutant hysteria is literally at an all-time high. Like you have like mutants that are being executed in the streets by mobs. No, that was just a really cool and interesting, like, let's take this concept to its next logical step. Because so many superhero comics have to be locked into a state of iconography, the Ultimate Universe was sort of divorced from that, so you can do something else with the idea. I liked seeing the Ultimate Universe sort of take those ideas a little further and really see what the Marvel Universe looks like when you don't have Charles Xavier and Magneto acting as like the safeties for the mutant community in the Marvel Universe. I thought that was really interesting. And Cataclysm was inevitable. They were gonna have Galactus show up eventually and just destroy the Ultimate Universe. Shit, Marvel and DC couldn't even make pre-Crisis Earth 2 and MC2 last. Oh, don't remind me. I'm sad about that. Thoughts on the new Ultimates run coming out? I am excited, nervous. I don't know how to feel. It definitely will not be the classic Ultimates. Which I saw that the writer of the book is not going to be Jonathan Hickman, which is a little disheartening because for me, Hickman is just... his run on Ultimates is really good. Like, his run on the Ultimates is really fucking good. So, I mean, I can't speak to the new writer who's listed on this book. I don't think I've read anything from them, but you know what? I like the character designs. I can say that. I think Hank Pym and Janet look really interesting. I like the aesthetic they're going for. I guess if Ultimate Invasion is anything to go off of, the overarching threat of the new Ultimate Universe is going to be Kang, who, as we know, is the future version of Tony Stark in this universe. So I'm fascinated to see how that works or doesn't work. I don't know. We will see. But I'm excited to read the book. I can say that. I'm definitely excited to read the book. It's not going to be anything like the classic Ultimate comics, but how could it be? Just, it can't be. And it won't be. So I'm not expecting it to be, but no, I'm really excited to give this new Ultimates book a shot. Alternate realities, fanfiction unleashed. I mean, in a lot of cases, the main reality is fanfiction unleashed. So, what are you gonna do there? Supreme says, "What if continuity? What if the Joker decided to nuke Gotham City multiple times and killed every member of the Bat family? How would Bruce react?" He'd probably give the Joker like a stern talking to, and then like scowl, and then bitch about how he can't kill the Joker because if I kill one of them, I have to kill all of them. I don't know. That whole era was so weird for Batman and DC in general. I mean, I like a lot of it, but like some of it just does not work, and it's really stupid. I also just don't like that. I don't like that excuse for Batman not killing people. I always preferred the idea that just he generally doesn't because his father is a doctor. Like Thomas Wayne's whole thing was saving lives. So in a weird way, Bruce is trying to follow his father's footsteps in being Batman. Like, Batman is like a doctor for Gotham City, and he's trying to heal Gotham. But even in that, like, sometimes you just gotta cut the cancer out and you gotta burn it. Sometimes that's what you gotta do. So it gets pretty egregious when you have the Joker who's like, I just nuked the entirety of the East Coast, and now I'm cutting out the hearts of babies, and I'm making old people eat them. Isn't that funny, Batman? It's like, what? Batman, what are you doing, man? If you're not gonna do it, at least let the Red Hood just one shot. Just one shot. That's all it is. You don't have to be like so weirdly obsessive over. I don't know. I think DC sort of puts themselves in a very parodic corner with Batman's no kill rule, but that's just me. That's just me personally. Question: why do you think Secret Empire ending never got a chance to get a good ending for this event? Because what we were talking about earlier, Marvel just they couldn't stick the landing. They bailed, so they allegedly rewrote the ending to be something far more easy to just shift everything into a more user-friendly status quo for the Marvel Universe as a whole. Because I think the original ending was gonna dovetail into some stuff that Nick Spencer wanted to do with the larger Marvel Universe, like the Shield Council takes over America as like the new stand-in for the president and all that. That would have been pretty cool, but we're not gonna get that. People just reacted a little too poorly to Secret Empire for Nick Spencer to continue writing Captain America. Question: if you were at Marvel and had the power, all right. First of all, let's kill off Peter Parker. No, I'm kidding. But if you were at Marvel and had the power to get rid of Ben Reilly Scott Spider, aka Chasm, how would you do it? I wouldn't even acknowledge him. I don't know. I think the whole Chasm thing is stupid. But I don't care enough about Ben Reilly at this point to even. I wouldn't do anything with him. He'd just stay in hell, or wherever the fuck the Goblin Queen lives, like Purgatory or whatever. Comics media or comics using media synergy, for like 30 years. I mean, they have been doing it, especially since the 30s. It's just sort of funny when like it's as egregious as it was with the whole Miss Marvel thing. That's when it's sort of parodic. Neil Gaiman's American Gods. For Thor, yeah. What if the DCEU ended with Justice League Part 2? Trying to think, what would have happened in Justice? Isn't that the one where like it would have ended on like a cliffhanger, where like Earth is destroyed and Superman goes full evil? I mean, people would have been pissed with that too, but I don't know. Probably more. I think people probably would have been more pissed about that than the whole Snyder Cut situation. I think that would have made the whole Snyder Cut situation that we ended up with seem like a cakewalk. DC would not live that down. How do you feel about Doctor Doom as Iron Man? I thought that premise was interesting, but I didn't like the book itself. I don't know what it was. I just didn't like it. Tomb says, on problems with the no killing rule. I hate the excuse of if you kill the villain, you'll just become as bad as them. Yeah, I that's one of those like pseudo intellectual justifications that is, it's just really stupid and silly. I don't like it. It's really dumb. Everybody hates Batman Earth 1 because Jeff Johns did his job. Wow. I mean, like, Batman Earth 1 is fine. I think the costume's really cool, but I don't know. It's fine. It's another Jeff Johns movie pitch, which everyone else who sort of came in and played with that concept did it better. I don't know. That's about it. That's how I feel about it. If you're reading Hickman's Avengers Secret Wars 2015 Nick Spencer's run on Captain America, it's a great continuation of the Marvel Universe after Secret Wars. Yeah, it kind of is. Comic stories, pitches for media adaptations. I mean, a lot of new ones are, unfortunately. But the ones that aren't kind of stick out, and they're very special, I feel. At the moment, I'm reading Bendis's run on Uncanny X-Men. Yeah. Oh, that's the one where like Cyclops has the X face. Yeah, that was a good. That was a good costume. I like that era a lot. Um, that's when I like jumped into trying to read X-Men. I was trying to read everything, and then I gave up on that because trying to read everything X-Men related is impossible if you want to read literally anything else other than X-Men. It it takes up all of your attention. You cannot read anything but X-Men if you're gonna read all of the X-Men. It's just impossible. Um, Speaking of Secret Empire, that reminds me, how do you feel about Civil War 2? Awful. Um, Question: Speaking of Green Goblin, how do you feel about Marvel turning Peter Parker into the Green Goblin? Oh, that's so dumb. It's so stupid. Oh God, why? House of Ideas, you're running a little dry here. Oh, oof. Um, what do you think Ultimates 3 was going to be about? Well, I remember reading somewhere that Ultimates 3 was originally just Civil War, but in the Marvel Universe. But I don't remember where I read that. I remember reading that as a kid and sticking with that for like 15 years. um, but I'm sure if you ask Mark Miller now, he'd probably give you like a different answer. And I trust what Mark Miller says more than the fuck I have to say, because he wrote the damn thing, or was gonna write the damn thing, but then he didn't. So, Burton vs. Batman. Fuck criminals. Cut out the cancer before it spreads. Just like a based pulp hero would. Um, the original DCE slate. Uh, WB Snyder Justice League trilogy being smashed into a two-parter. Yeah. Um, John Ty says it kind of amazes me when in the second issue of Batman First Night, Gordon gets to use his gun to shoot people dead. Yeah, it's Batman First Night's very interesting. Like it's very clearly acting as an homage to Golden Age Batman, but like you have the red roadster that Batman drives. You have Batman developing the Batarang as like a later invention. It's not a thing that he has like on the offset. You have the wide ears going out like this. You have the cape acting more as like wings than like an actual cape. He's got the purple gloves. He's got all the iconography of Golden Age Batman, but he doesn't kill people, which I think is very interesting. Dan Jurgens is sort of like building up to Batman using a gun. That's like the whole ending of issue 2, but I'm interested to see where that goes, because I just think it's really interesting to start a Golden Age Batman story off with Bruce not wanting to kill people. I think that's very fascinating. It's a very interesting choice. But Supreme Omega says on antagonists, thoughts on ends justify the means characters, breaking and changing the status quo. Like Ozymandias. it all depends on how it's played. It all depends on how it's written and drawn. I don't know. Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes they're played really cool and interestingly, and sometimes they're just not. It all depends on the depends on the skill of the writer and artist. Like everything. Yeah, it is a pretty cool callback that Batman's driving his red car instead of the Batmobile. I like that a lot. I also like that there's no Alfred. Because that's another Golden Age thing. Like, Batman didn't have an Alfred back then. A lot of this book weirdly reads to me like this is what public domain Batman's gonna look like, right? Like, when Batman enters the public domain, this is what that book is gonna look like. And I feel like DC's sort of like trying to get ahead of the curb there and like do it first so they can legally say, no, we did this in an official DC comic, so you can't replicate it. Just smart, but you know, admirable. Mistaken, but admirable. Miller's original Ultimates 3 introduction of the Avengers, similar to 616 working out of Stark Mansion and fighting ultimatized versions of the classic Avengers villains. Miller planned Civil War as an Ultimate event. Oh, we did? Okay. That would have been cool to see in the Ultimate Universe, but instead we got it in the main universe, and it didn't work. It was not great. I still maintain that. I would love more pulp stories with Batman and Superman in modern comics. Me too. But we're gonna have to just wait and see a lot of those stories in like 10 years with like the public domain. Fables is now public domain. Yeah, I remember hearing that. I have no dog in that fight. I never read Fables. But well, yeah, anyways, I'm going for a little bit, and I'm gonna wrap up here, but before I do, I did want to say I also picked up Avengers Twilight issue number 5. I haven't read it yet. In fact, I'm probably gonna read it after I end the stream. This is by Daniel Acuna and Chip Zdarsky. I got this Hawkeye cover because it's really fucking dope. And the last book that I picked up on this list, actually the last 2 books I picked up this week were Young Justice Book 1 and Young Justice Book 2. Because all of you guys keep telling me that I have to read Young Justice by Peter David, so I'm gonna do it. I got these. I'm excited to read them. I actually got one of these for like 60% off because Volume 1's painfully out of print. I found it at a comic book store that I don't normally go to, but it was really cool. It's Barbarian Comics. They're a really cool comic book store. They have a lot of really... If you're like a DC person, especially... Barbarian Comics has a lot of really cool comic books, so I found this out there, and I found this at my local comic book store. So I guess I can tell you what I think of Young Justice now that I finally have a chance to read it. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to read those. In the meantime, I'm working on a couple YouTube shorts and Instagram stories. I think I don't know, stories, shorts, reels, whatever, they're all the same thing. But I'm working on a couple of those. So those are gonna be fun, so I can actually have content on the channel instead of just leaving you guys in the lurch for like months. And the next video that I'm working on is actually JSA the Golden Age. Because I read this and I can't not talk about it. because holy shit, this book was amazing. Yeah, man. Um, fuck. Uh, People are pissed about me, in my Earth X video for saying that I think Earth X is a better Kingdom Come than Kingdom Come. I got a bigger hot take. Uh, Fuck. I mean, I'll say this here before I say it in the video, because, I mean, just statistically, less people watch these than they actually, like, watch my 15-minute videos or whatever, but, like, I thought this was a better version of DC New Frontier, quite frankly. The art is not nearly as flashy, it's not nearly as showy, but in terms of, like, the storytelling and the way it handles the commentary regarding the Red Scare and the Cold War from the American point of view, and, like, the way it, like, sort of deconstructs, like, the deontological concept of superheroes as, like, an institution. This is really fucking good. And I still love. Where is it? Do I have it over there? I just saw it. Oh, there we go. I love this to death. I absolutely love this book. Darwin Cook is, like, a genius. He's a genius of our time. Rest in peace. Like, this is all beautiful. It's gorgeous storytelling. Beautiful sequential storytelling. It's a wonderful ode to the Silver Age of comics. But I think part of the reason why I prefer the Golden Age to DC New Frontier is just because with this book you're dealing with a lot less notable characters. Like, you're not dealing with Superman, you're not dealing with Batman, you're not even dealing with, like, Jay Garrick as the Flash. You're dealing with Johnny Quick and Mr. America and Starman and Our Man. Like, these are all, like, D-list characters. There's not a lot of widespread reverence for these characters, so you're sort of free to just do whatever the fuck you want to do with them. And the places that this book goes, not necessarily to say that darker is better, but this book is definitely less precious with these characters, and because of that, it does a lot of interesting stuff with these characters that I just don't think anyone could get away with doing with, like, say, Superman or Martian Manhunter or Robin, for example, with any of these characters. And for that, I think I'm going to have to, like, give the edge to JSA The Golden Age. And I'm going to talk more in depth about that in the actual video, but, like, holy shit. This, again, much like Earth X, this is amazing. Why does nobody talk about this? I don't get it. I don't understand. This is another book that's just it's so brilliantly executed, and I don't get why it's just fallen by the wayside. But I don't know. I'm gonna make a whole video about it. Hopefully between now and the next 30 years. So you'll see that, and then I hope you enjoy. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, guys. Always love having you guys stop by so we can talk about comics and silliness and stuff. And I'll see you guys soon with new videos, hopefully, or maybe just see you next week and we'll talk about comics again. C'est la vie. Take care, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy reading comics and doing life stuff. Good night. Good morning. How are you?